Are you guys ready for the video that's going to do nothing but make people fight in the comments down below on whether this is a Christmas movie? Well, you come to the right place, so yippee-ki-yay, mother... Hey, what's up, bookworms? Have you been on the naughty or the nice list this year? Well, it doesn't matter either way. To go off the books, every single way is the way, right? So let's talk about some Christmas movies, guys. This is one that I wasn't sure I was going to have time to do. But you know what? It's only sleep. Who needs it? It's Christmas. I hope you've all had a great Christmas morning. And you're ready to kind of sit down around the fire and maybe watch some Christmas movies. So here's some, guys, that I always have found myself partial to over the years. Now, I want to say a couple of exclusions here that I know that people will ask about. It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street will not be on this list for two reasons. I think they were forced on me when I was way too young, and I found them extremely boring, and I've never been able to get past that. So I know that was like shocking to some people. That's like blasphemy to someone who have to watch It's a Wonderful Life every year. It's never really clicked for me. So I want to say that up front, that these will not be on the list, and that is why, actually. So maybe I should revisit them. I don't know. But right now, I haven't done that enough to put them on this list. Next, I am going to rank these because the last few off the books I did about like my favorite or whatever, people basically called me gutless because I wouldn't rank them. So hey, we're going to rank them so you guys get to complain about how I have your favorite Christmas movie at all time of like number 12 or something. But hey, it's my list. So here we go. We're going to kick it off with number 15. This is 1954. This is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That is a TV movie. It is the claymation featurette we've all seen a million times. No matter what era you are from, you've seen this before. My kids watch it all the time. They have the whole thing on YouTube, by the way. You can watch the whole video on YouTube. But it's just, it's a classic tale, right? I mean, this is Rudolph. You're never going to get better than this. I mean, it's weird to look at it and say, well, it's claymation. What do you mean it's never going to get better than this? But it's just, I don't think that anything that they ever made would be, I mean, are you going to make like some big epic serious Rudolph movie? I mean, what are you going to do? You know, what can you do that's better than that classic, you know, with the dentist and all that? It's so charming. It's just so ageless. It really is. It works so well. And of course, Bert Ives. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful Christmas movie. Watch it with the kids every year. It's great. So it's, look, guys, a lot of the stuff on this list is going to be nostalgia laden. And this is one of them for me. You know, someone who just might have just been introduced to it for the first time in like their late 20s, you might be like, you kind of had to see it when you were a kid. It's like the Goonies in that way. You had to see it when you were a kid to really understand what made it so great. But yeah, I'll always have good things to say about that. Number 14, some people don't want to call this one a Christmas movie, and I feel like we're going to argue about this a lot on this video about is this a Christmas movie or not, because I will contradict myself numerous times on saying something is a Christmas movie and why it is not. So I'm going to get that out there. But number 14, I've got Love Actually. This is in 2003. You believe it's been that long now? The thing about this movie is you look at the cast, you know, Liam Neeson, Alan Rickman, Bill Nye. This is just a really stunning cast. And it's just kind of like a hopeless romantic movie in a way, but there's some really messed up stuff, and it's some stuff that you'll be like, oh man, I mean, I think everyone is just heartbroken by Alan Rickman in this movie, basically. But with me, a thing about a lot of these movies, guys, is there's always one of these that has like a big Christmas song that sticks in my head. Now, as far as I know, Christmas All Over by Billy Mack in this movie isn't a real Christmas song, but I love it. I put it on my Christmas mix each year. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my soul. I love it. It's just such a great Christmas song. But it's a charming movie. It's got a lot of laughs, a lot of stuff that will make you hurt as well as make you laugh, I think. But it's just an all around good Christmas movie, I think, that can be watched any time of the year. So that seems like I'm kind of skating that fine line there. But I know a lot of people don't want to consider that a Christmas movie, but I do very much as well. Now, I know everybody considers number 13 a Christmas movie, and a lot of people will be stunned that it is this low. But this is a movie that is wild. It has never really clicked for me like everyone else. This is Elf, guys. I know that a lot of people put this on like their automatic watch every single year. This movie should work for me on paper a lot higher than this because I love Will Ferrell, I love Zooey, and Jon Favreau is a great director, so I should love this movie. I like it. I like it a lot. And kind of fun little tip about this is when this came out in 2003, that was that many years old when I realized that narwhals were real. I thought narwhals were a fantasy creature before I saw that movie. So, hey, you know, sometimes you learn things a little later in life, and that was mine. But it's not a bad movie at all. Obviously, these are 15 of my favorites here, and it does make that list. It's nothing that I'd be like, oh man, it's Christmas and I didn't watch Elf. I'm disappointed in myself, So that's why it is low as it is. Number 12. This is one that I think the first one people are going to say, that's not a Christmas movie, Mike. And that is Edward Scissorhands. And I don't know, when did that come out, 1990? I don't know if that's... Tim Burton movies just always kind of almost have that either Halloween or Christmas feeling, or both. I don't know what it is about it, but when you got Winona Ryder's character like dancing through the snow and I don't know, that seemed to me always was Christmas. Christmas does take place in the movie, but you'll hear me on this list a couple of times be like, hey, it's not a Christmas movie to me if it goes through the whole year, but Christmas just happens, because I hear people putting like Harry Potter on here and stuff because they have Christmas in it. I don't consider that Christmas. I think that Christmas seems to be somewhat of a theme in it, but I'm like, I don't know, Edward Scissorhands, I don't really think that Christmas is the theme of that movie. So I don't know, but it's kind of like number 11, guys. Yeah, Die Hard. Are you done flipping tables? I'll wait. You done? Okay. Now, here's the thing with this is, if this was a list of best movies out of these 15, yes, Die Hard's going to be number 1. Now, when it's best Christmas movies, I need to Christmas to be the main theme of the movie for me to say it is the best Christmas movie. Now, that is an argument that's just never going to end. People are always going to argue about this. Yes, I consider it a Christmas movie. They do say Merry Christmas in the movie. There is a Christmas party going on. It takes place over one day in the Christmas season. So I will let these things slide. But again, that's not the theme of the movie, so I can't put it much higher than this. However, like I said, if this was just talking about the best movies on this list, yeah, Die Hard blows all of these away, obviously. So let's move into the top 10 here. And I want you to remember this, that this is a Christmas movies list, because I know everything. I can't believe you got that over Die Hard. Die Hard's a better movie than all of these that I'm about to say, okay? But it's not a better Christmas movie. There. Hope that got across. Number 10, 1996. This is Jingle All The Way. And the reason that I have this one here is because I am old enough to remember, guys, before online shopping and what it was like trying to get like the big Christmas item that was just, they did not anticipate demand for. And there were actually people, I grew up in the age when Cabbage Patch Kids, there were grown adults punching each other in the face in the aisles to get a Cabbage Patch Kid in the 80s. It was wild. It was insane. And this movie just kind of brought back those memories. And of course, seeing Arnold, who at the time was the biggest action star in the world, and he's doing this silly, comedy Christmas movie with Sinbad. I don't know. It had a lot of heart to it. We watched it again this year. My kids loved it. They ate it up. They loved it. And they're going around calling, you're my number one customer. They're going around saying that and stuff now. So my kids have been introduced to Arnold a lot this year. And I think that was just the first time they've seen him just be full on like a comedic actor. And they really, really enjoyed it. And I think the movie's got a lot of heart. It really does. And, Phil Hartman, rest in peace, my friend. Number 9, this is 1966, guys. This is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And, of course, this is the animated feature, the classic, the original. The thing about Dr. Seuss, I feel like his movies don't really translate to live action. It's just too weird. It's too out there. And that's why that Jim Carrey Grinch movie just gives me the willies, really. Not as much as Cat in the Hat did, but just about. But, yeah, the original, I mean, this is it. I mean, you got that great song. And it's, you're a wild one, Mr. Grinch. It's great. It's great stuff. And yeah, I watched it with my youngest this year, and he just loved it to death, man. He was all over it. That's about his attention span, about a good half hour. It's about the most you're going to get him to watch anything, I think. So, yeah, it's a great family movie. And again, might be a little high for some people. Admit that is nostalgia. That and Rudolph and Frosty, we watched those every single year as kids because they showed them on TV, with like the Charlie Brown Christmas. That was just kind of my thing. So yeah, I'll admit that those are sneaking their way into this list because of how I felt about them as a kid, and now being able to share them with my kids, it's always going to have like some kind of significance to me in that regard. Number 8, now we go from the opposite of a family Christmas movie to a very adult Christmas movie. Was 2003 a great year for Christmas movies or what? Because we had Love Actually, we had Elf, and now we had Bad Santa. The Bad Santa is great because I worked in retail in my early 20s, guys. And I don't know if you've worked in retail. It is a nightmare, especially during the holiday season. And now I know that isn't really what the movie's about. It's about working in retail, but it brought back a lot of the memories of what it was like working in a mall at Christmas time, what people were like. So yeah, it's Billy Bob just being the most Billy Bob he's ever been in a movie before, I think. And Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls was like my crush at the time, I think. So that helped a lot too. But it's just a funny ass movie. I mean, you'll laugh yourself to tears more than once in that movie. And, it does end up in the end having a lot of heart to it, which you didn't really expect. Because, it was like, I went into the movie expecting Superbad, and I think at the end I felt like I got a little bit of Scrooged in there. So it was a good mix, I think, of the two, with a little bit of heart there at the end. But, yeah, just a funny movie. They'll just have you in stitches, I think, the whole time. Might not put you in the Christmas spirit as much, but it'll definitely make you think of maybe some of the more grumpy parts of the holiday season. Number 7, this is 1984. This is a classic. This is Gremlins. Even though it has like the most horrifying Christmas story of all time, where Phoebe Cates talks about how her dad died, I show this to my kids, and every year I fast forward that part. Don't feel like that's the way they need to find out about Santa Claus, right? So this movie, again, it's another one that I think that Christmas isn't exactly the theme of the movie. I still feel like it gets the spirit of the holiday season in there quite a bit. I mean, come on. You had the mom fighting a gremlin inside of a Christmas tree, for God's sakes. What's more Christmassy than that, right? I mean, she went full on like Ripley Sigourney Weaver in that scene. Great scene in the kitchen. Oh my God, what a killer movie. That's a movie that has aged incredibly well for all the practical effects they did in it, man. It's so good. So good. Show it to your kids if you have it, because it got a little bit, it's like probably the only like real, besides like maybe you get like Krampus or something, only real like the somewhat like horror Christmas story, because I think in the 80s, guys, they weren't scared to scare the shit out of kids. I think, in the 80s, it was like, yeah, just scare them. Jim Henson was real big about saying, hey, let's, it's okay. It's okay for kids to be scared. It teaches them it's okay sometimes to not feel safe. I think that was a really good message, but yeah, all those guys in the 80s, Spielberg, Zemeckis, Jim Henson, all of them were all about like, hey, you know what, we can scare the shit out of some kids. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And Gremlins has those scares, as well as just some of the most adorable things ever in the Mogwai. I love them to death. Number 6, 1994. This is The Santa Claus, E, with the E at the end. The one with Tim Allen. This is a movie that I thought was just like 90s camp. And I revisited it again a couple years ago. And I'm not going to lie, at the end, I got kind of teary-eyed. It was really, really touching there at the end. And I just didn't remember that. And, you think about in the 90s there when Tim Allen was just like the king. I mean, he was, Home Improvement was like the biggest thing on TV. Everything he touched went to gold. His stand-up was really good. This is before Buzz Lightyear, So I think that's what most people seem to know him for now. But yeah, it's a fun movie, a good father-son movie. I think it really does hit all the right notes if if you're a father of a young boy. I think it'll really, really touch that. But it gets to some of the other things about, hey, what age do you not believe in Santa Claus anymore and stuff like that. Just some really, really, again, heartfelt stuff, I think, in the end that really just kind of sticks with me now. And again, I feel bad for, all those years like being like just kind of shrugging it off as just like, oh, it was a cornball movie that I liked in the 90s. It's not that good now. And I watched it, I was like, wow, this is actually really, really good. Now the sequels, whew, yeah, stay away from those if you can. Number 5, this one's kind of a cheat because I feel like it's the only one that can be both on a list like this of Halloween and a list of this for Christmas, of course, is The Nightmare Before Christmas from 1993. Now, you know how people fight about is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? People fight about this movie. Is it a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? Because it is very much about this village of monsters and how they think about Christmas, But again, I think it can firmly be entrenched in both, for sure. I think you could watch it on Halloween. You can watch it on Christmas, and it fits both seasons. And I think it's the only one on this list that does it this well. And I mean, this movie just has some of the best tunes that will get stuck in your head forever. And it was a movie that was just ahead of its time. I think they did about the movies that made us on Netflix about this. That movie never should have succeeded, with the way that they made it. And it's just become like just iconic at this point. It was kind of like a cult thing for a little while, and now it's just like everybody loves this movie, it seems like. And I mean, if you can make it through this movie and not be saying, what's this? For the rest of the day, you've got amazing block on your earworms, because that soundtrack will stick with you like crazy. And it's a ton of fun. I have a blast with that movie every year. Sometimes we do watch it for Halloween and Christmas. Number 4, I'm going to go 1990. This is Home Alone, guys. And I think that there's no way that people consider this not a Christmas movie, right? I have heard some kind of saying, not really. I mean, how can you say that Harry Potter is a Christmas movie but Home Alone isn't, right? But obviously, the best part of this movie is, seeing every these people, almost like a Three Stooges way, seeing them get smacked in the face a lot. It's a lot of fun, right? But I think at the time, I was the same age, like as Macaulay Culkin. So, that was just one of those movies where like, I can see myself doing this if I ended up home alone and my house was getting invaded by burglars. I think it was just like every mischievous kid's dream at the time. So it was just perfect timing for me. And yes, of course, my 9-year-old loves it. He watches it in June. He doesn't even care if it's a Christmas movie or not. He just has a great time with it. And who hasn't just, anytime you've been paying for something and you want to tip them and you're like, keep the change, you filthy animal. Is that just me? I don't know. I have a problem with things like that. Number 3, we watched it again this year. And this moved it up my list because, holy hell, this movie has so much heart, guys. 1988. This is Scrooged. I remember loving this movie. Another one that I thought might just be some 80s nostalgia. But again, yeah, watched this year, showed it to my son for the first time. My wife cried twice. It was like, I just didn't remember that movie hitting. You remember Bill Murray just being a nut, but there's like that part where he sees his mom and he's trying to fight back the tears and he can't. And then, of course, at the end, it really does Dickens. Pretty much it pulled it forward to modern times. The best I've seen it done. And it's been done a lot, guys. And I think it's something that it made me actually interested to read the Dickens novel when I was younger, and I did because of this zany comedy. At the time, Bill Murray, anything he touched, he turned to gold, right? So it was something that I was always going to see regardless. But I'm amazed when I go back and watch it now that it's just like, man, this is just aged so well. So many lines from it, and it just encapsulates everything about Christmas and about how, why try to be a great person one day a year. Why can't we do this year round? It's a great moral message in that movie. And you wouldn't expect that from a Bill Murray comedy, but it really does hit all the right notes. It makes you just remember what the season is all about, and what it feels like to really just embrace the season and embrace your fellow man. It really has a lot of humanity in it. It really does. And a lot of people may not get that out of it. That's just what I got out of it this time. So other people might just be like, oh, no, it's funny. It's like Bill Murray getting hit with a toaster and fighting a fairy, things like that. And it has those things. But it has very, very serious and dark moments they really do hit a nerve really, really well. And the only reason they can't get past these two is because, guys, these are yearly. This is happening every year. We're watching these. I think you probably know what the next two are. You're just wondering what order are they going to go in. And I feel like everyone I talk to, it's one of these two if they don't do the Die Hard thing. It's one of these two movies. I got to go number 2, 1989. This is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I mean, the most quotable Christmas movie of all time. Hallelujah, holy shit, right? Good morning, Merry Christmas, the shitter was full. I mean, so many lines from this movie that I use on a daily basis. You serious, Clark? I can't think of any time of the Christmas season I'm not talking about the Jelly of the Month Club. Every time it's bonus time at work, We're always talking about these things. This is just an iconic film, guys. You got to watch it every year. I mean, you can't put Christmas lights up on your house without thinking about this movie. And you're like, maybe I didn't flip that light switch, when the lights aren't working, or testing every single bulb before you do it. So many things about this movie are great. And just like Scrooge, it's like that, but it does have its serious moments, that really do land. And I think this is just the time period where they could just take something that's just a silly comedy, and then when they got serious on you, it never got so self-serious it took you out of the comedy, but it leaned off of it enough that you weren't laughing at the serious moments. And that's a hard barrier to not cross, really. So I think this is a masterwork in doing that there. And every single year, man, I watch this. We actually watched it last night, and we're going to watch number 1 today, guys, because it is a Christmas tradition every year, just like with the TBS Superstation, to watch it for 24 hours. This is A Christmas Story from 1983. Now, this one has personal significance to me, and I'm going to tell a little story time. You guys ready for some story time? There's that movie that just came out called 8-Bit Christmas, which is talking about how he got his Nintendo. My story relates to Christmas Story because of how he gets his Red Ryder BB gun. In the movie, Christmas is over. The presents are all done. They're just kind of chilling out, talking to parents. You have a good Christmas, all that kind of stuff. And then his parents completely punk him. Hey, what's that over there? My parents did the same thing to me. We had finished Christmas morning. We had done our present. We had lunch. Christmas was over, right? And then my mom comes out, oh, hey, here's one more we forgot in the room. My dad's like, it's just clothes. He doesn't care about that. And it was my Nintendo. And it's just tears. Yeah, so it was great Christmas memories. And that's what this movie makes me think of, that being bullied being bullied always is going to make me think of this movie. But yeah, so many things about it. Every time we take the kids to see Santa, we're like, ho, 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 and oh, fudge, you know? So, yeah, I don't watch it 24 hours a day, but we will happen to, well, you know, it's Christmas Day, the TV's on. Why is it not on TBS? So we can watch Christmas Story. So, yeah, we watch it a couple of times, I think, each year. And kids love it more and more every year. I love it. I never get tired of it. I've watched it probably 400 times in my life. It's just a wonderful, wonderful Christmas movie that gets all of that coming of age stuff that you guys know that I love during that time period in your life where Christmas is the most important thing in the world, because it's the one time a year you can get that crazy thing that you probably couldn't ask for any other time. It just encapsulates childhood for me, that movie does. You know, the double dog dairy, all that stuff. We were stupid in the 80s, guys. We did all the stuff that the kids were doing in these movies, you know. So it didn't take place in the 80s. It's just kind of the stuff it made me think of. So that's why it'll always be number one for me. Always will bring back that memory of how my parents punked me by getting me that Nintendo that year, and God bless them. Love them to death for it. So, guys, that is my favorite Christmas movies. What are some of your favorite Christmas movies? I hope that you'll drop in the comments and tell me your list, and tell me, instead of telling me why mine suck, but, you know, hey, it is what it is. But hey, guys, I hope you had a great, great Christmas. I hope you got everything you want. I hope you're getting to spend a lot of time with family. Recharge the batteries a little bit before we kick off 2022. So have a great rest of your Christmas, and I will talk to you in the comments below.